This the book of 2nd Exodus, chapter 9 and verse 1. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before, then shalt thou well understand that it is the very same time when the highest began to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an ending, and the end is manifest, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonderful and powerful works, and endings and effects and signs. Barakta Yahweh, Barakta Yahweh Shai, Barakta Yahweh, Barakta Yahweh Shai, Barakta Yahweh, Barakta Yahweh Shai, Kah Elohim La Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone, rule web and a great example to his younger brothers in the truth, peace and blessing to the hopeful elect, Lord, and this edifying. This another edition of Measured Out of Time Diligently. So we're going to get straight into it, Lord, and this edifying.
Students returning to school in the Keller ISD today will not find the Bible or a graphic novel adaptation of Anne Frank's diaries in their libraries now.
They are some of the books removed as the district responds to a crackdown by Governor Abbott and fellow Texas Republicans.
That all said, where my real concerns lay is that our society is going backwards. I reckon it's much harder to repair a cultural balance sheet than it is a political or a financial one. And in almost every measure of how society is stacking up, we are doing pretty poorly.
But Anne Frank?
Everyone on the committee unanimously voted to put the book right back on.
Man, if I can add, they more worried about a fucking dumbass book about a fucking Anne Frank with that fake ass incident that happened during the time of World War II or whenever it was, with the so-called 1948ers. You know, they more worried about that than the Bible. You know, and you have one of your beloved presidents who said a college or a thorough understanding of the Bible is better than any college education. So that should be what they be worried about having in the schools. Is not this supposed to be a God fearing country? But they took the Lord's word out the school. The scripture tell you to train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. But they worry about Anne Frank. You know, a Jewish person. You know.
Library shelves.
Still, on Tuesday, the district sent this email to all principals. In summary, every book challenged last year has to be reviewed again and pulled from shelves in the meantime. It doesn't matter if they were approved by committees like the one Hawes was on.
And it's gone.
The Bible is even being pulled from shelves. It was challenged last year. And district leadership clarified to staff Tuesday, saying the school board created the snag. New review procedures were passed this month. And Tuesday's move comes after May's fiery school board elections, when conservative groups like Patriot Mobile Action spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to back more conservative school board candidates in Tarrant County.
So in your mind, there are two offenses here. We're taking away a historical book, and then we're also
taking away the voice of parents.
Hawes says she's done playing by the rules.
Yeah, and the historical book they talking about ain't the historical book to this. The historical book is the Anne Frank, which the Bible is a historical book. The Bible is a historical book for us, man. For the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American, that contains our history. You know. But let's get this. This Psalms 50 and verse 16 to say, but unto the wicked, Yahweh saith, but unto the wicked, Yahweh saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes? Or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing thou hatest instructions and cast of my words behind thee. When thou sawest a thief, then when thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him, and has been partakers of adultery, or have been partakers with adulterers, Thou hast given thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue framest deceit. And it's going into Edom during the time of the Babylonians when they sacked the temple. And I'm gonna keep going. Verse 20 say, Thou sittest and speak against thy brother, thou slanderest thy own mother's son. Yeah, because Esau and Jacob was brothers. Of the same mother and father, had the same mother and father. But two different nations was in her womb. You know, they were gonna be progenitors of two total different nations. Esau, then you had Jacob. Esau's name was changed to Edom, and Jacob's name was changed to Israel. Verse 21 it say, These things hast thou done, and I have kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself. But I will reprove thee, and I will set them in order before thine eyes. Set who in order? The Israelites, those who, the nations made a pact to keep down. And Psalms 83, 1 on down, going into how Esau and the other nations had a plan to, all day. So like it had a plan to keep us from being a nation, you know. Verse 22 it say, Now consider this, ye that forget Yahweh, least I tear you in pieces, and there be none to deliver you. And that's what the Lord's finna do to Esau. The Lord finna tear you to pieces. Ain't nobody gonna be able to deliver you. And all our people who don't wanna let you go, they gonna get towed up with your ass, man. And they gonna all be put to death. 2/3 of our people gonna be put to death. And Esau, Edom, those of you that are left in the bunkers or wherever you may survive, you're gonna go in a hardcore bondage, man. And nobody in America is gonna escape if they're not delivered by the so-called UFOs, the chariots of the Lord. They say, Whoso offereth praises glorify me, and to him that offereth his conversation, who ordereth his conversation aright, will I shew the salvation of Yahweh. By Hashem Yahweh.
Because they keep being changed.
We read the books. We discussed them. We decided that they were suitable for children's shelves. And they come in, the small group of people, and they say, no, we don't like your outcomes.
While we are not yet on the scale of looting that takes place in the USA, if you look at what happens there, it might give us a glimpse into our own future. There are so many of these videos of people just walking in, taking what they want and walking out, and security guards are just standing there because it's not worth their while. Politicians have made it okay. Believe it or not, we do have steal to order gangs here too. My friendly checkout operator told me about her experience with them, including with that man who took all the meat.
And I'm gonna get this because on the bottom of the screen we should not have to accept lawlessness, and this the in the new King James version, NKJV, and it reads. So like, let me pull it up. So like, I gotta try a different one. This in the English ESV, the English Standard Version. It say, and because of lawlessness will be increased, the love of many shall wax cold. And I'm gonna read it in KJV as well. It reads, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So the scriptures say, and because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures unto the end will be saved, and the gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come, and that's what's going on now. It's teaching on the highways and hedges and putting it up on the internet via YouTube, BitChute, or however the word being pushed out there, Rumble. What's the other one? Damn, what's that one? The old one they used to be on before I came, way before I came to the truth. I forgot what the name of it was. But it was before they was on YouTube. They was putting it on something else. The elders, apostles, and the elder brothers. They were putting it on something else. I can't think of the name of it. But it's all good. It don't matter. It's all good. And this lawlessness going to Second Exodus chapter 15 as well. Is they gonna disregard their leaders, and they gonna evade one another and fight against one another with the sword. That's what's coming to the earth, man. And Esau is rising it up. Esau is finna Esau is pushing for all hell to break loose. That's what he want. You know, out of chaos, he bring the order.
She supposed was to sell to people out in the street. And then, of course, on top of this lawlessness, or maybe because of it, we've got obvious drug use, and that's decimating lives and devastating entire communities. It seems everyone knows someone who's always wasted on marijuana or messed up by meth or cooked from coke. And it seems so common now that it feels kind of normal. And actually, some of our political types do want it to be normalised. They reckon that illicit drugs should be treated just like alcohol or cigarettes. But bizarrely, many of these same people want to ban smoking tobacco, but they're more than happy to encourage people or allow them to smoke dope. Now, with advocates like that, unsurprisingly, in research in America shows that more young people are now regular.
And this nigga is a witch because when you smoking dope and getting high and shit, you promoting witchcraft, you know, because that's what they did back in the day with the potions and shit like that, making different things, have you hallucinating and high as hell. That's basically what they doing, promoting witchcraft, man. And that's what Esau is a witch, man. The daughter of the Chaldeans.
Dopers than smokers in the States. I mean, if you're a politician, it's one way to keep the community zombified, isn't it? Now, I don't have that hard data for Australia, but based on what I see in the streets, it's entirely possible the same thing is happening here. People are wasted as they're walking around. And on top of that, there's this lack of consideration for anyone except self. I mean, we've become a narcissistic society, and the narcissistic drips who wander the streets, eyes glued to their phones, expecting everyone else to watch out for them. There is zero personal responsibility. And if one of these zombies happens to bump into you, oh, watch out. These entitled brats who just only follow technology have a very foul mouth on them too. And while I know many of you will say, this is just a little snapshot, Corey, it's not all like this, I accept that. But I have to say, it doesn't actually paint a pretty picture, particularly when you think many of the people I'm referring to now are young people. They're our future. And everything seems to be about self-gratification. I'm doing it because I want to, and why should I give a hoot about anyone else, is the attitude I detect. But that attitude is why we've got more porn perverts than ever before. It's why there are more broken families, more hardened hearts, and more messed up minds. Believe it or not, it's all a result of a decades-long leftist-led social experiment that's actually left our society dumber and more dysfunctional. Perhaps that was their intent.
And the word lawlessness means basically disregard of God's law.
Exactly. And you Edomites are being revealed. You Edomites are the men. The matter of fact, let's just read it. You Edomites is this right here. This Second Thessalonians chapter 5 in verse Salaki, I'm tripping. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 1, but the point in 5, but I read from 1. It reads, Now, brethren, now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of Yahweh, of our Lord Yahweh Shah Mashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Hamashiach is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And it's talking about Esau Edom. Who is Esau Edom? You know, that's what it's talking about. Esau Edom, the man of sin, the son of perdition, who ruled the earth, the wicked. You know, this is a mystery who this guy is. No, that's why I don't nobody, Esau, everybody in the world, so-called white man, everybody in the world, take everybody heritage, culture, but you ain't gonna never him being proclaiming himself to be Esau, you know. Verse 4 it say, Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. And who is doing this in the earth, man? Who is manipulating the weather? Who have weather modifying technology? And you can say the globalists, the elitists, and try to say all that old dumb shit. But at the end of the day, who are they? They're so-called Edomites, so-called white people, following the agenda of the international bankers. Who are the international bankers? So-called white men. You know, not only white men, but so-called 1948 or small hat people. You know, the people who always holler anti-Semitism. Those are the people who rule the world, which are the chief house of Edom, Amalek, who the Lord promised to have war with from generation to generation. But let's read it also in NIV. I just want to get straight to the point of lawlessness. Reading verse 3 also. Let no man deceive you by any means, but I'm going to read it in NIV. It reads, Don't let anyone deceive you in any way, for that day will not come until the rebellion occurs, and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the man doomed to destruction. And the rebellion that they went off on that part. It say, for that day will not come until the rebellion occurs, and the man of lawlessness, they went off on until the rebellion come. That ain't what that mean. When it say that day shall not come first, except there be a falling away first. That falling away is when we discontinue completely from our heritage and start calling ourselves black, Negroes, Indians, Puerto Ricans, Jamaican, Haitian. You know, that was that true falling away when we discontinued from our heritage. That what it's talking about when it say that falling away, not the rebellion. When Esau beat Hebrew out of us, that was the ultimate falling away in this last captivity. But the point being is, it say, in the man of lawlessness is revealed, the man doomed to destruction. Who was that man? Esau Edom. That nigga doomed to destruction. He threw.
The idea that God is God and that God has a moral and ethical standard that he expects mankind to be governed by. Excuse me. A kind of amorality based upon man being the center of his universe. It's the idea of humanism. That humanism essentially asserts that man is the center of all things. We are the definer, the decider of what's good and right, which is increasingly becoming the underlying philosophical foundation of our world. And he says that's what this idea of the man of lawlessness, he'll be this one who's saying, you don't have to regard God. God is no longer a
Who's saying that? Let's not be crazy, you crazy ass Christians. Don't be stupid now. Who's saying that? You got Noah Harari, however you say his last name. His Noah Harari is Noah Harari, however you want to say it. Noah and Klaus Schwab. We won't have to obey or worry about a God in the clouds and all this old proud shit. You know, even Christianity, the law was done away with. Just accept God in your heart today and commit all manners of wickedness. You'll be saved. Get baptized, go to church, pay your tithes, and you're good. The man of lawlessness.
pertinent factor because, in a sense, we all are God in our own very, very little.
And we all are not God. Only the Israelite men are gods. You know, well, the nation of Israel are gods. Because the women, they not gonna be gods, but they gonna be, you know, Israelite women. Shit, they ain't gonna call them no gods, gods and goddesses. No, you gonna have the Israelite men, you know, and then you gonna have the women. They gonna be immortal. The thing gonna be calling no shots over the men and nothing like that. So we ain't gonna call them goddesses, you know. But they gonna be princesses, and they gonna live forever, just like the men of Israel. And they gonna, you know, have handmaids and be able to tell them what to do, and. But the men of Israel are the gods. Ye are gods, but ye shall die like men. That's what the scriptures say in Psalms.
Way. But he says that that man will be revealed, the one who will be the forefront, the poster child, if you will, of this whole concept. And he says he's a man who is doomed to destruction. But he will oppose and exalt himself over everything that is called God or is worshipped, so that he sets himself up in God's temple, proclaiming himself to be God.
But first tonight, I do spend a lot of time thinking about the state of the world we live in. Maybe you do too. But for me, it's not so much about politics, because it's pretty clear the Western world has the worst crop of political leaders in modern history. Trudeau, Ardern, Biden, Macron. We've just said goodbye to Scott Morrison and Boris Johnson. It's hard to imagine a more useless bunch that have actually led us into a pit of despair. You might not think we're there yet, but I'm telling you, the pit has been dug and they're trying to push us into it.
That even though I may not be able to say exactly how something is going to be fulfilled, there are so many things that are coming to pass, as I said before, that are so close to what the Bible describes that I'm kind of stunned by what I'm reading in the world around me.
It was another point I wanted to make.
Students return.
Salaki.
Coming
The people I'm referring to now are young people. They're our future.
Yes, somewhere.
Glued to their phones, expecting everyone else to watch out for them. The same thing is happening here. People are wasted as they're walking around. And on top of that, there's this lack of consideration for anyone except self. I mean, we've become a narcissistic society, and the narcissistic drips who wander the streets.
Salaki, that's the point I wanted. Everybody is concerned with self. And this prophecy, man, this Second Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of Yahweh, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. For from such turn away. But the point is, men in the last day, men gonna be lovers of themselves, and that's what you see in the earth today. But that's pretty much the point. Lord willing, this um lesson was edifying. I want to end giving all honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone, rule web, and a great example to the younger brothers in the truth. Peace and blessing to the hopeful elect. Lord willing, this edifying. Hey, measured out of time diligently. Shalom. Kwame Shalom. Shalom.